You know, this has been a big couple of months in gaming. We got Starfield, Payday 3, Phantom Liberty coming, Mortal Kombat 1, and what we're going to be talking about today. That's right, this is going to be a shorter video, so I'll get right to the point. That is, we're returning to Cyberpunk 2077 once more before the big release of the game's first DLC. But today is actually a big day for Cyberpunk as well, as the update 2.0 was actually released today. Well, as of me writing this script. But this update actually changed so much with the game, making it seem almost completely different. There were so many things that were added, fixed, changed, and I want to go through everything that I have found and everything that has changed. Since this is a shorter vid though, I'm just gonna quick fire everything off, so you better pay attention. But now I'm just gonna delve right into it, so don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of the new vids. Now, let's get into Cyberpunk's biggest update. As I said, this is going to be a shorter vid, and I'm just going to be quick firing off all the things I noticed in order of noticing them. So I apologize if I am all over the place, but I will try to get to everything. So let's just get into the first thing. First thing I noticed was the improved map. I opened up the map and I noticed that there was so much more detail to everything on the map. I first noticed the mountains no longer just being a blank dark blue, but actually showing mountains. Along with this, it looked more like a geographical map rather than just a neon sign. That leads us into the next thing that I noticed, and that was the improved minimap. The minimap also shows more detail, but also has a better GPS route to waypoints and objectives, being more solid of a line than a dotted line. The route is also more precise in telling the player where to go. Another cool thing on the minimap is instead of the police being gray and red dots just like the rest of the enemies, they are now blue to distinguish them from the others. The next thing I could tell was wildly different was the HUD in general, being slightly bigger and cleaner overall, to be honest. Some of the icons are moved around and some of the needless aspects have just been removed. Along with this, the speedometer while driving has totally changed and in my opinion looks way better. On the topic of those icons, opening the vehicle menu is pretty much the same, looking similar but a little cleaned up. But the whole messages and phone screen is in general completely different and way better. The messaging screen has new animations and sounds for receiving messages and a better response system for replying to all of your Night City friends. Opening up your inventory and the in-game menu, you will notice a lot of difference there too. I will say really quick that they once more changed that mystery attribute that has been in the game and inaccessible since the release, and I honestly think that there is a chance that Phantom Liberty will unlock access to that attribute. On the topic of attributes and skills, talk about a complete change. They did reset the skills, so you will have to put them all back into the newly tweaked skills. Yes, almost every skill has something new or different about it, along with there being actually new skills. Along with this, there is a clearer and more simple way to unlock the skills and move through the different skill trees. I will say that the skill change is completely for the better and is a big game changer. Moving over to your loadout, things follow the trend of looking pretty similar, being cleaned up in certain spots. Though, when you go hover over your weapons, the information panel is a lot better, displaying more and better info about the certain weapon. Though I didn't notice if there was a big difference in the apparel and armor display. And when you go into your backpack, again you can probably guess, pretty similar and just cleaned up. Shifting over to the cyberware menu, it looks a lot better, and it actually added in a new skill to be able to unlock more cyberware to your non-dominant hand. One cool thing to add a little more immersion, and I would assume to be a nod at the Edge Runners Netflix anime, great series by the way, not for the faint of heart though, and that is that you need certain skills to surpass certain amounts of cyberware, as you don't want to push yourself into cyberpsychosis, as that is what would happen when you got too chromed out in Cyberpunk lore. And lastly, on the topic of changes to the menu and the HUD/UI, and that is the change to the journal screen, making it easier to discern your missions from side jobs and gigs, along with showing more information on the fixers that gives them. This is not only cleaner, but it is just easier to navigate. Honestly, they made the whole in-game menu easier to navigate in general. Now that the menu is out of the way though, let's move on to the gameplay differences that I noticed. I will say first that it could have been placebo, but the game actually seems all around smoother. Not that I think I was getting more frames, but I definitely noticed higher 1% lows, which can make a world of difference. So if I am right, I would say that the performance even had a big improvement. But one of the first things I did when I started to actually play was I hopped in my car and went for a drive. I instantly noticed though I did already know from the announcements, but you can now shoot guns out of your car. So whenever you find yourself in a car chase, whip out your pistol and go to town in the safety of your vehicle. And on bikes, you can even whip out your sword and go slicing. Then, once I started driving, I actually noticed what seemed to be better car noises. The big reason I noticed this was whenever I drove around Johnny's Porsche, it honestly did not sound too good. Though after the update, I actually found it way more tolerable. Though that could be another one of those placebos. While I drove around though, I noticed that the AI actually acted a lot better. The NPCs seemed to be more lively than on a set path to get to where they needed. Along with this, I did notice some pop-in, but really there was a lot less pop-in and pop-out of people and vehicles on the sidewalk and roads. And not only did the civilian NPCs seem to get a big AI change, but the police did too. Now there will be NCPD walking around the street like any other person, or they might be busting someone and arresting them, or even in a shootout with someone else. Along with that, there is a totally revamped wanted system in general. The police don't just appear now, they actually drive in, giving the opportunity to get into actual police chases, bringing the weapon wielding in cars to use. And with this, the police will actually get more extreme as your wanted level goes up, eventually sending in max tac. The police system is now a lot more like GTA 5's, or I would even say it reminded me of Mafia 2. Swinging back to shooting from cars, that's not all you can do. You can actually have missile launchers and machine guns on your cars, being able to mow down your enemies with ease. Speaking of enemies, the whole hostile and gang system was updated as well, bringing in more diverse and sometimes challenging encounters with gangs and hostiles, even being able to find bigger and more realistic gang outposts, outside of the average NCPD disturbance. And the last thing I noticed while playing was a change to the Ripper dock that came with the change to the cyberware. Near the end of my playing, I swung by the Ripper dock, and with the change in the cyberware menu, there was a change in installing cyberware, as before I said you need to watch your Chrome, and along with this, there are different slots and even so much more cyberware, being able to truly turn yourself into the next David Martinez. And yeah, that is about all I noticed, and as I said, you had to pay attention, as I already know that was a lot of information for such a short amount of time. But really, this is just an update on the update before the true big Cyberpunk video comes out with the release of the first DLC. Really though, I think that the update changed so much, and it was all for the better. And as usual with updates, there wasn't really anything I found on the negative side of things, as updates aren't supposed to make the game worse. This update came with a lot more than just bug fixes, which is always awesome to see. This, I will say, was a big win on CD Projekt Red's part, and it seems like they really listened to the fans on this one. But really, this video is droning on and is honestly long enough for one of these side vids. So if you enjoy Cyberpunk already, or even dislike the game but still have it in your library, I say you should definitely go give the game another try. And anyways, as always, let me know what you thought about this video and the changes you've seen in Cyberpunk's Update 2.0 in the comments now. And you can also just throw any other thoughts or suggestions there too. And if you enjoyed this video, hit it with a like, and if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date on all the new vids coming in the future. And if you want your name at the end of every single vid, along with supporting the channel and all of the future vids, check out a membership to my channel or my Patreon now. And lastly, if you heard any music in this video that you liked and you want to hear more, check out BillyTheWhip.com or just Billy the Whip on any music platform now. And as always, thank you all so much for all the support, and I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day.
Eyes glowing like a Ronin, tossing out checks, I'm overthrowing. It lasts forever, my spit ongoing. Old tracks, I'm loathing new tracks. Start scrolling, no trolling like bowling, knocking down.